This 1 Degree Outside video is brought to you by Attitash Mountain Village. Book your stay directly through the link on our homepage, 1degreeoutside.com. If it's Monday, that must mean it's pattern predictions time, right? Looking out to the next 2 weeks here at 1 Degree Outside. Meteorologist Matt Noyes. Just a quick reminder for you, if you happen to see this the day that we're posting it on the holiday Monday, just remember this is the last day to be able to enter the contest for that deluxe 2-night stay at Attitash Mountain Resort. So again, just check it out on our app right on the home screen, right at the top, free to enter, but the entering ends today. Drawing will be tomorrow. And if you're seeing this after Monday, well, you missed out on this one. But nonetheless, we hope we get a real happy winner out of those of you who enter. Meanwhile, of course, we want to let you know that we still have our Patreon offering at patreon.com/1degreeoutside. Inside Track gives you access to our podcast, pre-storm live streams, 1 Degree Outside enthusiasts, our niche maps, which right now are the snow sports maps and snow sports discussion for that matter as well. So check that out. All right, let's get down to business, right? Start out with the map of 500 millibar height. I've explained this before, but if you're new to these videos, bottom line, when you go up in the atmosphere, the pressure gets less. So the question is, how high up do you have to go to get the pressure down to 500 millibars? Why do you care? Because cold air is more dense, warm air is less dense. So you have to go higher up to get your pressure to go down if it's warmer. So what we can do is we can color how high up you got to go, and that gives you basically an idea of average temperature. So you can see the warmer colors for warmer average temperature, the colder colors for colder average temperature, right? All right, let's go ahead and put this thing into motion. I'm not going to get bogged down in the day-to-day details. We do that in our Insights video, but notice that you do have some energetic disturbances coming in that are bringing cold air with them. You've got the polar vortex still well-developed and well-established. You actually, on the other side of the globe, have even more cold air still set up in Siberia. But if we go through even a little bit farther and we go out, let's say, in the next weekend, all right, I'm going to pause things for a little bit as we get to the end of next weekend. Notice that you've got a low coming down to the four corners. What is this? A pool of cold air? Yes. That comes with an upper-level storm, though. So what that does is it's taking disturbances coming around the top of the eastern Pacific Ridge, brings them around its base, and boom, ejects them in toward New England. Now, at first blush, you might say that's a good thing, right? Now, if you know weather, you look at this and you say, this is what we call confluent flow. If you don't know weather, let me tell you what that is. Basically, you got northern stream coming in, southern stream coming in, but they all come together and they meet right over us. When they meet right over you, it's similar, I'd explain it like putting your finger over a garden hose. You get a big spray on the outside, but the outside spray is going to be out over Nova Scotia or out over the Canadian Maritimes, not over us. So what we get is just this big, fast, flat flow that comes through the end of the garden hose nozzle, right? Well, I would suggest there's a little bit more to the pattern than this, though. Because as we get, let's say, beyond this weekend, into next week and the following weekend, we get deeper into that second week in the 2-week pattern. Notice what starts to happen. Higher heights, or in other words, warmer average temperature, starts to expand across a lot of the country. Why is that important? Well, because you've still got a very fast flow in the kind of battle between cold and warm air. You've got energetic disturbances dropping down in. Now, I'll admit, when I look at this, I don't see a snow lover's delight here. We've got what we call the mean trough position, or the kind of center, the axis of the colder air right over New England. I'd like to see that a little far to the west. But I will also say you've at least got a shot here. This is not one that shuts you down entirely. This is not like what you see when you've got so much cold and dry air that you can't get a storm to get in here no matter what you do. So it puts you in the game, in other words, all right? If you look at the jet stream level, we've got one disturbance going by on Tuesday night of this week, another one Thursday night, and these may cause some snow chances at the South Coast, but I promise you, this video, we're not going to get into that. That's more for insights, right? Same thing on Friday night, another disturbance kind of digs in, jet stream comes up in our direction, right? And then we go through into the weekend and next week, and we say, oh, but a lot of that is still fast and flattened to our south. So again, what I'm telling you is not great for snow development, but at the same time, you've got at least you're in the game. You got a fighting chance as long as you're still bringing multiple disturbances through. But you can see that confluent flow we talked about, can't you? The northern stream, the southern stream, where they meet, you get a big storm, but they tend to be meeting just off to our east. Well, that's all right. One of the time frames we actually will watch is out toward the end of next week. I actually think that next week things do change in the complexion of this a little bit. Let me explain it another way for you. What we're going to do is go from the jet stream and we'll go over to what will be the surface temperature, okay? So surface temperature is colored in here. The black lines are barometric pressure. You'd see storm centers. I don't want to focus on those nitty-gritty details when you're looking at 2 weeks. I want you to watch the overall pattern on temperature. This is right now. You got a lot of cold air across the country, right? We're talking about snow down to the Gulf Coast. Let's go ahead and play things through. Watch what happens to the temperature across the United States in the next 2 weeks. Gradually, you get that cold releasing. Yes, there are still these pounces of cold into the Northeast, but look at the difference by the end of the 2 week period. The cold is relaxed, and that puts us closer to the battle zone between cold and warm. And that's why I say that actually does increase the chance that you could get some disturbances to produce some snow around here as you get particularly into next week and out in the following weekend and beyond into the early part of February. Admittedly, next 10 days, you look at the precipitation forecast, it doesn't look very promising. If you're a snow lover, you look at the snow forecast and you'd expect it to look the same. And it does. The Gulf Coast gets more snow than we do. Panhandle of Florida gets more too, right? But again, what I'm telling you is I'm not sold that you don't have a chance. I'm not sold that that's exactly how it goes because of the fact that that cold kind of relaxes, but the polar vortex is still very well established, still keeps throwing some northern disturbances in our direction, and you've got a couple of shots to bring it in. That's why, actually, when you look at over 120 different solutions, in the beginning, the chance of precipitation is very low. It might be a little bit higher on a couple of nights in here near the south coast. But you get out in the next week, and believe it or not, the chance of precipitation becomes more elevated because, again, of the fact that the cold should relax a little bit as we get toward the end of the 2 week period. You can watch that 14-day forecast each day and see how it changes. See if I'm right. Right now, you see really low chances. Let's see if they go up as we go farther out in time. Noyes 1 degree outside weather. That's pattern predictions for this week. Always appreciate it if you chime in. Leave your comments. Tell me what you think. Love to see and hear what you have to say. See you again at onedegreeoutside.com.